Welcome to the very first episode of the Steve in the Hood presents Boston Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Thompson. My co-host is Chris the Hood Blackie. Since this is our first episode tonight, we're just going to do a brief little introduction of each other. So take it away, Chris.
What's going on? I've been a fan of Boston sports since 1984. Some of my first memories of the Big Three of the Celtics. Obviously, the teams from the Bruins, the heartache of the Sox in '86, the smothering of the Bears in the Super Bowl. Things have gone a lot better over the years, but there were some lean years there for quite a while in Boston sports overall. But it was just something that was kind of thrown at me at a young age from my father and grandfather, and just something that kind of has stuck over the years.
Cool, good stuff. Yeah, I'm Steve Thompson again. I was born late 70s. Like Chris, early 80s and above. I've been a big fan. Chris and I have known each other for since the fourth grade, so it's been a long time. And I remember the Bird years, all the Celtic Lakers rivalries. Like Chris said as well, the Bears Patriots Super Bowl. We absolutely got annihilated, but the Bruins teams of the 80s, 90s. And most recently with all the success all of our teams have had, really, Patriots run speaks for itself. Celtics got another title, so
Right.
things are definitely looking up. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. We're gonna talk some Red Sox first. State of the Red Sox, everyone knows with the David Price fiasco recently. With him going after Eckersley, things like that. So how do you feel about the whole situation with him, how Farrell's handled it, things like that, Chris?
I think the whole thing has been botched from the very beginning. It's very clear that David Price is not happy in Boston. It's very evident that the majority of us don't want him here either. He's been nothing more but a malcontent, in my opinion. I mean, it's just childish, some of the stuff that he does. He's not reliable in the playoffs. To me, he's way too thin-skinned to play in this city, and I personally can't wait until he's gone, to be honest with you. Farrell, to me, is grossly overrated as a manager. His in-game decisions are questionable at best at times, and he just gets that look to me like the deer looking into the headlights, like, oh boy, here it comes. And sure enough, 9 out of 10 times something goes awry. To me, he's lost the room, and I would be shocked if he's back next year as the manager.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have lost today, God forbid, with Chris Sale on the mound, if they would have went out and somehow lost his start, I'm thinking, oh, that happens. Farrell's gone tomorrow. But thankfully they won today 4-0, get back on track a little bit. But yeah, like you said, David Price, I don't think he wants to be here anymore. It's he's acting like a 5-year-old with calling out Eck on the charter plane, having his teammates making fun of him and all that kind of nonsense. Didn't talk to him like a man in private, like most people would do if they have an issue with somebody. And like I said, I just don't think he wants to be here anymore. It's his postseason track record speaks for itself. Never won in the playoffs as a starter. I mean, that's the way to get people to love you in Boston, is to produce in the playoffs. It's regular season's nice, but we're not the Indianapolis Colts, so
No, we're not.
Regular season gets you there, but if you go and crap your pants in the playoffs, doesn't matter what Boston team it is, if you're not going to be well received, especially if you act like a complete a-hole during everything else that's going on. So just
exactly.
Somebody needs to get a hold of him. Chris Sale, somebody, David, just shut up and pitch. It's
That's the most glaring thing about this Red Sox team is it seems to be there's no leadership in that clubhouse at all, and I think that's a carryover from Ortiz not being in the room. They miss his bat, and they also miss his leadership. I mean, who's the leader of the team? Can you identify it with one? I can't. I mean, some people say Pedroia, but I honestly don't think he's as much of a leader as people think he is.
Yeah, he's definitely, if he's the leader, he's definitely not vocal about it. I love him. He's one of my favorite players on the team, but he definitely doesn't seem like the one to like get in your face type and tell you to get your butt in line type. And Farrell, like you said, I think he's lost the locker room, so to speak. The inmates running the asylum, that doesn't usually end well, and nobody apologized to ACT. They asked him that on the radio yesterday, and he basically said, yep, nobody apologized to him. A couple people have talked to him in the meantime, but no one came out and said, I'm sorry. And I don't know, I just don't like crap like that happening, personally.
No, I mean, it rubs you the wrong way. I mean, Hall of Famer, his numbers speak for itself. I mean, if you have a problem with a guy, man up and talk to him. You don't gotta try and make an example of him. There was another report where Price blasted the music during someone having a private, interview. I think it was Rob Bradford with Chris Sale. I mean, that's just unnecessary. And the thing that is the scariest thing about this to me is there's a legitimate chance that he's looked at as a leader in that clubhouse. And that is a very frightening situation if you're a Red Sox fan.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, that attitude and stuff spreads. That would be horrible.
Well, the only reason I say that is because why would people be cheering by something that he does? I mean, that's normally something like where people are going to back a leader in a situation like that. I mean, if there was a true leader of that clubhouse, it would have got nipped in the butt right on the spot.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it shouldn't really have to come to the manager. Or some people have said that Dombrowski should step in and say something to Price. It's like, why do you need someone that high up in the organization to tell a player to, behave, so to speak?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't that tends to be overstepping his boundaries with Farrell? That's something Farrell should be taking care of, not upper management.
Oh yeah, that definitely wouldn't go well at all.
No.
Yeah. So they got tomorrow off finally. Yeah, a little side note on Chris Sale. He hasn't allowed an earned run since the All-Star break. So,
that's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Another.
Talk about something that's really scary. Can you imagine that pitching staff on this team without him at this point?
Oh.
They're definitely not in first place. I mean, they're hanging on by a thread now. When the Yankees, I believe, have 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I think it's 3 or 4. Yeah. Yeah, they got 3 or 4 in hand. Yeah, and their Yankees are reportedly trying to get Sonny Gray too. So.
That's a little bit scary, and not only that, Darvish has presented his list of teams for who he'd be willing to play for and who he wouldn't, and Boston's on the list where he doesn't want to come to, and New York is. So it just keeps getting better and better for people outside of Boston.
Right.
The Yankees can match us easily money for money, and really, if they really want to outbid us for anybody, they can. They have a better farm system than we do overall.
Yeah.
So you're kind of New York's mercy at the moment.
Yeah, and the Sox, too, they don't want to go over the luxury tax this year. So that's not helping the situation.
No, it's not. I mean, even if they do manage to make it in the playoffs, are you comfortable with them going forward? Because I'm certainly not.
Yeah, the offense especially has been kind of hit or miss a lot of the year. They go 4 or 5 games, they get 1-2 runs a game, and then last night they got 5 and still lost. But yeah, it's definitely Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of people are talking about how we need a bat, rightfully so, but what we really need his bullpen help, and some timely hitting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not set up as your prototypical AL team. We're more of a National League team.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't.
Yeah. Need the
We don't
stars of the team.
exactly.
Yeah, Bogarts, JBJ, Pedroia, list goes on and on. They got to, hit consistently in the clutch. Like you said earlier, missing Ortiz sucks. Just, that guy would come up in a key situation, and 9 times out of 10 he was getting it done. So it's tough.
Well, I mean, let's be honest about the situation. There was never going to be anybody replacing him, anyways.
No. Yeah.
I mean, unlike him, like you said, going into it, you just knew he was going to make a play.
Right.
He's easily the most clutch hitter I've ever seen in my lifetime in a Red Sox uniform, especially in the postseason. I mean, stats speak for themselves.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yep. So hopefully they got a big series coming up this weekend against Kansas City. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, they got in a row coming, so they need to get it done at home.
Yeah.
No. Desperately needed some home cooking for sure.
Yeah. Starts with Price Friday night. Let's hope he delivers. Or if not, he's gonna get hammered.
I mean, if you really, then that's another thing that's scary. He's pretty much gonna set the tone for that homestand. If he goes out and flops, it could get ugly.
Right.
Because he will absolutely get hammered if he goes out and throws a dud.
Yeah, with everything that's gone on with him, do you think he gets booed at the beginning?
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me in the least bit. I mean, and that's just it. I mean, we all need him and want him to succeed. I just don't see it happening here. And by booing him, it's probably going to make his confidence even that much worse.
Right.
How can you actually cheer for someone like that? The team is very unlikable as a whole at the moment.
Yeah, they need to get it in gear and fast. Yeah, they have the lead, like you said, but can change in an instant.
So, I'm not comfortable at all with them as is.
Yeah, I think Kelly threw on the side yesterday or today, so he's on the way back.
Well, that's why I've had a lot of people ask me, Chris, have you heard what's going on? What are you thinking? And my thinking is they're going to get an arm before they get a bat.
Yeah, that actually came out today. It said they're comfortable with the offense. They're going to be concentrating on bullpen help before the deadline.
Well, there's a lot of people who are available for, bullpen help, but that happens every single year. And it all depends on the price. I mean, if you don't match what they're looking for, then you're not going to get nobody. And that could easily happen to the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, historically, good bullpen guys at the deadline have cost a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So are you willing to give up someone like a Groom for a quality bullpen arm?
Oof.
I don't think I would, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no.
I mean, proven talent, but as this team is right now, I don't see him getting past Houston for sure.
Yeah, Houston's loaded.
Probably beats them.
Yeah, you never know once you get into the playoffs, but yeah, Houston's tough. They got good pitching, good hitting, so that'd be a fun series to watch.
No question about it.
Let's move on to some Celtics. Came out, Isaiah Thomas is not going to have hip surgery, so pretty good news on that front. Definitely was hoping that he wasn't going to need surgery, that rest and rehab was going to be the way to go. So he's shooting and stuff now, so let's just hope for the best on that and that it doesn't flare up like mid-season.
Oh boy.
You know.
Talk about a play you can ill afford to go down during the regular season.
Right. Yep. Heart and soul of that team for sure.
I think he's the firecracker of the team for sure, but to me, the captain's Warford, without question.
Yeah. Yeah, he does some things that you don't really see on the stat sheet.
That's just it, and that's another thing, touching on the Sox a little bit with the Celtics. The Celtics don't have like a Horford type. He settled down the room in that Washington series. So, like you said, he does a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet.
Right. Yeah,
There's a lot of talk back and forth about, should you trade Thomas for Irvin? What you have to do to probably make that happen with Thomas is so other people in to make a team that you're chasing better than you, essentially. Doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, because you'd probably have to give him Crowder, Rozier, and some picks.
Right, for one guy. And to me, that's just not worth it.
Right. Well, too, everyone's counting on that Brooklyn pick being like 1 or 2. Yeah, you got to pay attention a little bit. They made some moves in the offseason.
Right.
Brooklyn, so they might not suck that bad after all. And if Danny's banking all his chips on them sucking for another year and they go out and somehow sneak into the playoffs, it's going to totally screw the plan.
Could you imagine? And what if the Lakers somehow make noise?
Yeah, obviously we're Celtics fans, so we get nervous by default, but
right.
So,
Got to.
It's
Got to.
If anything bad can happen to them, it's gonna happen, especially with the lottery and stuff.
No question about it.
But yeah, I like the team. I like the Horfords. The Hayward signing. I thought that was a good move for them. He's gonna add some nice scoring punch to that team. So it's 2 years in a row. Danny's gotten a pretty big free agent to come to Boston. That's huge for the Celtics.
It definitely is on a team that in a city that generally doesn't get those big free agents. Now we're looking at Boston as a possible destination. It's like you said, it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
And not only just Hayward, Marcus Morris was a decent pickup. Bynes is going to be better than advertised, I believe. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with him.
Right. Yeah, that Morris, when he goes against his brother, that's going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. You obviously, you don't have a brother, so you have sisters, so
yeah.
You have a different type of rivalry. I grew up with a brother, so I can tell you what that's all about. And those of you who have know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure. TNT or ESPN, when they play, they'll be mic'd up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yep. So
they got it. The future's very bright for the Celtics. They got Tatum, Brown. Semi looked really good. They got players, so they're going to be there. It's going to come quicker than we think, especially with what's going on with Cleveland. Like a lot of people keep saying, well, if they trade Irvin, are you better than Cleveland? And I guess the real answer to that is let's see what's coming back in the trade for us.
Yep.
Because you still got LeBron. He's a pain. Just him on your team, you're going to go for at least 50, you figure.
Yeah, it's too. If LeBron, everyone's saying that he's bolting to the West after this coming season, I would pretty much leave the Celtics up there, sitting pretty.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. In some ways, it's a little bit off course with the Celtics, but in some ways, I'm glad Irvin's leaving because it gives LeBron a taste of his own medicine on everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He Kyrie obviously isn't happy, and so he's probably sees the writing on the wall with LeBron taking off. So he's like, all right, fine, I'm leaving first.
Well, exactly. I mean, he just beat him to the punch. That's all.
Yeah.
It's a smart move for Irvin. And if I was the Cleveland Cavaliers, to be frank, I wouldn't care what LeBron wants. I would be doing what's best for the team as a whole, because he's probably gone next year anyway. So why would you cater to him for a year? And then he leaves, and then you're back to being crappy again.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, Dan Gilbert, he's probably, he's definitely not the best owner in the league, but he's not stupid either.
And he's always had a weird relationship with LeBron, so.
Right.
I don't know. Definitely miss the old days of the NBA for sure.
So, on to a little Bruins news. Ryan Spooner and the team agreed to a 1-year, $2.825 million deal today, avoiding arbitration. So it looks like he's going to be back for another year. I know he had a pretty much up and down season last year. What do you think of him coming back? Do you think they're going to trade him, or do you think he's on the team?
I hate it. I hate that move. I'm all done with Spooner in Boston. I mean, it was a system before. They kept saying, "Oh, it's Julian's system why he's not flourishing." Well, they get a guy in Cassidy, who's a little bit more up tempo, and he still doesn't flourish. To me, it's over for him in Boston. I mean, he was like 38% at the face-off dot. He needs to improve on that. He needs to improve on his wall game. I just think it's over. I don't want him here anymore. I know that. I'm just done with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him move him, but I just have a feeling that he's going to be around for this year.
Well, I say if he's around for sure this year, this is it for him.
Yeah.
This is make or break for him this season. Maybe he catches fire, but I'm not too optimistic about that happening with him.
Right. Yeah, maybe they probably agreed to something saying, hey, let's agree to this 1-year deal, and then next year do whatever you want.
It's certainly possible. Bruins are a whole nother animal in themselves. Not much you can say about them that hasn't been said already.
No, yeah, I like the youth. McAvoy showed something in the playoffs last year. I know it was only 6 games, but he looked pretty decent. Carlo had a decent year for being so young. Chara's still kicking somehow.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
How, I have no idea, but he's just the ageless wonder.
Yeah.
He slowed down. I mean, I think if things are going south this year with them, I would probably ask Chara if he wouldn't mind, moving on.
Right.
To a defender if they're interested, because I think his best years are behind him.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yep. And Tuca, he's frustrating for me because a lot of the times he'll make like these freaking unbelievable saves that no one really in their right mind should be making, and then he lets one go between his legs or high glove, whatever. That's just so frustrating sometimes.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah.
And it's always at the worst possible time, too.
Right. Yeah, with like 30 seconds left in the game or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because he's had games up in Montreal. He's won like 2-1 or 1-0 with like 50 saves, and that's pretty incredible for any goalie to do something like that. But then it's team fights back, ties it, and then he lets in a softie. It's just, yes, he's a good goalie. Sometimes he frustrates the heck out of me.
Oh, he sure does. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's another thing. Going back to like what we touched on earlier with Sale, can you imagine how the Bruins would have looked last year without Raskin that? Yeah, he frustrates the hell out of everybody, but he actually put up fairly decent numbers. Without him, you're not a playoff team. There's no questions about that.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I think he's another one that just isn't going to get it done in town.
Tuca?
Tuca.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the reason I say that is I think when the Bruins actually finally get everything together, the youth and everything, I think Tuca's going to be a little bit old.
Yeah, that would kind of go along with the whole youth movement. Yeah, it's possible. I mean,
the hockey playoffs in general are a whole nother animal in itself.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at Ottawa. You know?
Exactly. I mean, that's just it. All you need is just to get hot at the right time.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, that Ottawa Bruins series was pretty good. I mean,
to me, Boston still legitimately won that series.
Oh yeah, injuries killed them, and then Ottawa, I didn't think they were gonna make it to the conference finals. That was kind of crazy.
No, me neither.
But
me neither.
Yeah, like you said, the hockey playoffs are crazy. So
it's fun stuff to watch, though. It's probably the playoffs. My absolute favorite sport to watch is playoff hockey.
Yeah, it's tough for me to pick. It's the NFL playoffs are pretty intense.
Well, they are, but I mean, are we talking outside of New England, or are we talking in New England?
Yeah, everywhere.
Because I mean, with the Patriots, you expect them at least to be an AFC, conference game every single season.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always usually in nail-biting fashion.
At times, it gets a little hairy, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It gets a little bit nerve-wracking with them.
Yeah.
I just want them to make it to the Super Bowl and actually demolish somebody. I'm tired of these nail-biters.
Yeah. Let's have a nice 21-point lead heading into the fourth. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The team I really want is New York. That's complete unfinished business for me on that.
Oh, the Giants? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Bad.
I'd like to play them. I'd like to shut up Eli. But a lot of fans be like, oh, no, we don't want the Giants.
Wow. In some ways, you
yeah.
blame them.
Oh, I mean, Tom Coughlin's not there anymore. That guy's a hell of a coach.
He's very underrated.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He was Bill's kryptonite, so to speak.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But, not a question.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. So.
No, but I mean, they made moves themselves, the Giants. I mean, that's going to be a competitive division, too, with them and the Cowboys going at it.
Right. No doubt about it.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap up the episode. Chris, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at KristaHood420.
Cool. And mine, I got a couple at Diehard Boss Fans and at We Play for Titles. You can find us on Facebook at Diehard Boston Sports Fans. We also have a Facebook group if you guys want to come over and check it out. It's pretty good. You got a lot of people in there just talking Boston sports, hanging out. So the intro and outro music, credit to Kevin MacLeod for both of those. So good stuff. Thanks everyone who listened to our first episode. Have a good night.